HP recently pushed out a firmware update to many people's printers that disabled their ability to print even if you're using a genuine HP cartridge. It's related to this thing called dynamic security. What I find interesting is not just that this occurred, but also HP's support's response to it, which was, and I quote, HP sometimes releases new firmware after a backlash from customers. Check for new firmware or workaround. So this is something that is so common that the customer service agents at HP are used to it, and they're using words like consumer backlash or customer backlash to describe what it is that will cause HP to release a new firmware update. What is dynamic security? For those of you who are not aware of what dynamic security is, it's a feature that is described by the CEO of his HP as something that's supposed to protect customers from viruses that could be injected into third-party cartridges and used to gain persistent and full control of the printer. Something that's important to note is that there are no documented cases to my knowledge and to anybody that I know's knowledge of this ever occurring. The only way that you are going to get a virus from your ink cartridge is not through the computer, but if you take the ink out of the printer and start drinking it or something. You may get sick from that, but you're not going to get a computer virus as a result of using a third-party ink cartridge or any other type of ink cartridge. And if we're on the subject of there being a way to get a virus from your printer, the only reason that this attack vector even exists is because your printer's ink cartridge has a chip in it that has all this stuff so that your computer can verify that you're using a genuine cartridge to begin with, which is not necessary for the printer to function. They put the printer together in a manner to ensure that it needs that to function, and that's just fundamentally not necessary. So they created an attack vector, and then after creating that attack vector, which again, I don't even think is an attack vector, they decided to fix it by requiring that you use genuine ink, and even if you do use genuine ink, you're likely going to get error 11 on your printer anyway. Something else that was mentioned in this article on the wiki that was contributed to by all these lovely people over here is that this is typically used to restrict functionalities like scanning or faxing when one of the ink levels is low. So this doesn't really serve you much function, but this functionality is used to make sure that you can't scan with certain HP printer fax or scanner combos when the ink is low in the printer. Many people here are reporting these things like the device doesn't work from support, so they tried using the previous firmware updater and that did not work. This person said that they wanted them to pay $100 for tech support, which is more than they paid for the printer. And one of my personal favorites is I called HP support and they told me the problem is with the printer and not the firmware update, and that they will give me a voucher to spend at HP. So first HP breaks my printer with a malicious firmware update and then forces me to buy a new one with a voucher. This is the scam of the century, or as my good friend Jake Palumbo would say if he's here right now, how very Christian of them. He always said, you know, he grew up in a very hyper-religious community in Tennessee, and one of the things that he would say with this like kind of smirk on his face when stuff like this happens, if somebody were to break his printer and then give him a coupon for a new one, it was just, I could just hear him right now saying, wow, that's mighty Christian of you, sir, with the smirk on his face. At this point, the cat and mouse game has gotten so bad that HP is actually falsely detecting genuine cartridges as aftermarket and giving people an error on their printers. So the first thing to go over here is that if you have a printer, do not allow it to go on the internet and never update its firmware, ever. If there is an application on your computer that is related to the printer's functionality that has the ability to update the printer, even if the printer is not allowed to go on the internet, make sure that if you have their utilities installed on your computer, that using some sort of firewall, you are blocking the utility from being able to connect to the internet so that it cannot grab new firmware. I can have this printer, scanner, faxer combo that I have over here on my local network so that everything in my house is able to print and scan to and from it without this actually needing to go on the internet. There is no reason for your printer to have internet access, and I disable that at the router level, at the firewall level, and I don't install the manufacturer's software besides the driver on my computer, and I will never allow my printer to auto update. If your printer prints when you get it, you're good. This is not a video game. You're not getting additional DLC content or something like that. This isn't the next season of 24 Heroes or Prison Break. Your printer is fine as it is. Don't update the printer. Just don't do it. My printer doesn't go on the internet. People don't connect to my LAN unless they're me. Moving on from that, I think that this is a great time for other printer companies to come out and just kick them in the balls entirely. So this is something that I think Mozilla missed out on with their browser. So right as Chrome is getting rid of Manifest v2 and saying that some extensions like the old uBlock are not supported, Mozilla could have come out and with this great advertising campaign with the $37 million per year of profit that they make off of the mutual fund of Mozilla from their investments that I went over in the recent video I did, they could have come out and said, here, we will allow you to have uBlock. There are even forks of it that come with uBlock installed. We're not going to do any of this, rather than rewording their terms of service and the worst blog post possible to lead people to believe that they're using their data and fucking with them. It's just, so I do hope that some other companies decide to come out and do that. One thing that I want to follow up on is the video that I had done on Brother. Brother did come out and say that we are not under any circumstances a company that tries to stop third-party ink from working. So and they also reached out to me, and I responded to them, and I wanted to read what I sent them because I do believe that they were acting in good faith. The person who emailed me sounded very genuine and sincere, and because I've been using their printers for 15 years, I have decided to, I will give you guys the benefit of the doubt. I just wanted to read a copy of the email that I had sent to them so that you can see, and I look forward to their reply. I also think that this is a great opportunity for a company like Brother, if they want, to come out swinging and create some sort of ad campaign that says, we are the opposite of HP, we will never do that to you, and here's why. And if they give me a reply to everything I sent, I will happily share it on this channel and sing their praises from now until the end of time. This is what I sent. Thank you very much for reaching out. I really appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation. Firstly, I edited the title of the initial video. We'll be editing the wiki article as soon as I have information, and pinned a comment for clarification to let viewers know that I'm speaking with you. No grudge against Brother. To be clear, I have no grudge against Brother as a company. In fact, when somebody claimed on our wiki that Brother was engaged in planned obsolescence by using batteries and toner cartridges without informing customers, we corrected this within 8 hours around midnight to reflect the factual truth. Because that's great sleep hygiene on my part. Not technically midnight, 11:39, but yeah. Yeah, I need to get better sleep hygiene. Anyway. We corrected this within 8 hours around midnight to reflect the factual truth. Brother uses non-volatile memory, while the aftermarket cartridges in question required a battery. I'd love to update my video title and ensure that everyone understands your point of view. I'd really appreciate it if you could help me by answering a few questions. First one, firmware 1.56 to 1.59. I noticed that most complaints from users both online and in my email inbox started around firmware versions 1.56 to 1.59. Are you aware of anything that might have caused a higher volume of complaints during this period? Based on emails I've received and public reports, nearly every complaint points to this specific firmware window. My goal is to understand why so many users reported that third-party toner stopped working after an update to these versions. Here are a few examples of complaints during that time frame. Got a few. Assuming Brother has never intentionally hindered aftermarket toner use, I have a couple of theories as to what may have happened. I would love to get your insight here. Possible explanations. These are guesses. Theory 1. Unintentional issue related to identification. A similar issue once happened with Apple's Retina MacBook Pro. Initially, it didn't require LCD screens to have a specific EDID code for the backlight to function. However, a later OS update made this a requirement, which caused some of LG's surplus stock to stop working. Not because of a deliberate move against repairs, but simply due to an engineering oversight. The LG surplus stock never had EDID codes programmed into them. Could something similar have happened here? Was there any change in how the printer identifies toner that could have unintentionally led to toner that worked prior to the update, causing complaints to that degree? Theory 2, customer usage pattern and battery failure in third-party toner. Again, assuming that Brother has never hindered aftermarket toner and firmware, another possibility is that customers may have falsely linked firmware updates to toner failures due to a battery issue in aftermarket toner. Here's how that might happen. January 2nd, customer installs third-party toner. January 3rd, customer prints successfully and turns off the printer. April 10th, the aftermarket toner battery dies, but the customer is unaware because they use their printer twice a year. August 20th, customer turns on the printer again and updates the firmware before printing. Printer refuses to print due to dead battery and toner. Since they hadn't printed since the firmware update, they assume the update caused the issue rather than the battery dying. False causality. The timing of events could make customers falsely attribute the failure to the firmware update rather than the passage of time. Color calibration issues. Failure mode that I understand. I understand how a dead battery or a poorly performing chip in an aftermarket cartridge could cause the printer to stop printing, as shown in this example. Many users have reported this, and it comes down to an issue with the aftermarket toner itself. This failure mode makes complete sense to me. The color calibration issue I don't understand. What I don't understand is why some users reported that automatic color registration stopped working after updating to firmware 1.56. For example, this Reddit user using an MFC 3750 reported that before updating, the printer correctly calibrated itself with the same non-OEM toner, and after upgrading, it continued printing but lost the ability to perform color registration. The printer didn't refuse to print, so this isn't the issue of third-party toner rejection, which is what happens when some of the batteries die. Instead, it printed with misaligned colors and required OEM toner to recalibrate. I'm not asking Brother to troubleshoot aftermarket cartridges. I completely understand that Brother is not responsible for supporting third-party toner issues, but I really appreciate any technical insight that could go into what would cause color registration to work before an update, but not after. Confirmation. I've personally used Brother Printer since 2010. If I can get info on these issues straight from Brother, I'd be more than happy to relay this information to viewers and ensure the Consumer Action Task Force Wiki remains 100% accurate. Most consumers feel mistreated by printer companies, and I've always appreciated that Brother has a better reputation than the rest. If Brother remains committed to not restricting consumer choice, I'd love to highlight that and correct any misunderstandings. Also, this voice-to-text software that I was using is so fucking annoying. Just an aside here. I was using a voice-to-text software for this, and it bolds things for me if I say them in a different tone of voice, and like, holy crap. Anyway, just as we quickly corrected the wiki when an incorrect claim was made about batteries and Brother cartridges, I want to make sure Brother's perspective is properly represented, while also answering the onslaught of questions I will receive from readers and the audience. Thanks again for your time. And I did have this email exchange going into a weekend, and people do like to have work-life balance and take weekends off. So when I do hear back from them, I will report to all of you. And again, this is one of those things like Mozilla had a chance to come out swinging against Chrome instead of shooting themselves in the foot. I genuinely hope to God that Brother comes out and reassures everybody that we are the opposite of HP. This is a great fucking opportunity, and I hope that they don't miss it at all. Using their stuff for 15 years. I have a Brother on my desk right here. This is the 2390DW. The only reason I have this is because my 7860 broke, and the only reason that my 7860 broke is that while I was moving, I accidentally dropped it off a truck, and it didn't just go once because it was kind of on a hill. It kind of bounced and then rolled, and it was my fault. Anyway, that's it for today, and always, I hope you learned something. And remember, the Consumer Action Task Force Wiki stays accurate, and it stays up to date, and it stays positive because of people like you. Again, I saw an article that could have used some work. This is before I did my video, and we edited this article, and again, I edited this article at 11:39 at night because I have no sleep hygiene at all, and other people also edited it to make it better. If you take a look at the HP Dynamic Security article, this article is being kept up to date and edited all the time with new information. In order to keep track of all this stuff, it really does require the collaborative effort of all of you. You do not have to log in to use this wiki. It works without logging in, so you don't have to register and go through all that crap. You may wonder, how is it possible to do that without it becoming complete spam? We get alerts every single time an article is edited or added. I get an alert for every single one. And there's a moderation team that works around the clock, checking every single one of those things and reverting it if something is bullshit. And if I see something posted that I think could be better cited, then I will do the research. Whether 12 o'clock in the day or 12 at night. I did quit my job for this. This is now my full-time, non-paying job. It was fun working at Fudo while it lasted. It's been great, and I want to focus on this full-time. So that's what I'm doing. I've stepped back from my company, and I have stepped back on the frequency of the videos that I produce because this is really what I want to do with my life. I want to make I want there to be a single place that people can go to learn about all of this stuff that is reliable, that is on point, that goes over all of this stuff because nobody else is doing it. I'd like to try, but it requires the help of all of you. I really hope you'll all help me. Thank you for listening, and as always, hope you learned something. Feel free to turn the video off at this point because what follows is going to be an advertisement. I will give you 10 seconds to reach into your pocket, hit pause if you're listening to this on a phone, go to your browser, find the tab, hit pause, so you don't have to listen to an ad. Okay, so on my website here, I sell this hot air rework station that I used for repairs for many years that all my employees still use right now. This ships same day from Austin, Texas, and we have increased the warranty from 1 year on this station to 2 years. So we'll ship the same day if you're interested in it. We have the lowest price in the entire continental United States for this, and we offer a 2-year warranty. I was offering a 1 year, and at every single time one of my employees would say, like, what do we do if this person emailed us 2 or 4 months out of it? I would always just go, like, just take care of it. So I figured I might as well make it 2 years, and even if people email me after the 2 years, there's a pretty good chance that I just say, man, just help them anyway. I've had less than 5 of these fail, and we've sold thousands at this point, at the very least. And 2 of them that failed, I'm fairly certain happened because somebody dropped the hot air nozzle like all the way down there and just allowed the whole thing to overheat because it was fixable by just replacing the heating element after we did an RMA. So. But we replaced it for them for free anyway, Try to be nice people. When you buy this, it pays for BlackBerry Silencia injection, which is not cheap. Not cheap. I have to be careful to not pet her back here because that's where the bone disease hurts her. Good kitty. You have a very scratchy tongue, BlackBerry. I don't know if anybody's told you that you have a very scratchy tongue. Ow. I can't move my hand away from her if she like I don't have it in me to. If she's like just being nice and happy. Like if I take my arm away from her, it just feels mean. At the same time, ow. You have all this fancy food, not fancy feast, good food. Nice Halo dried food, Reveal canned food, all sorts of nice stuff. And you're still trying to eat me. I think it's Bronner's skin cream. I have this Bronner's hand cream. It's the the one that has all the very fun schizo religious stuff on the side, but a cool religion though. All one, all none thing. I like Dr. Bronner is awesome. I'm 99% certain that she really, really enjoys the lime Bronner skin cream because anytime I put this on, she just starts trying to eat me, and then I wind up having to wash my arm and reapply it. And because I've reapplied it, the kind of just goes on forever. Anyway, see you in the next video. Bye now.